Who is that guy?
That's Justin.
You want to come sit on a sofa?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Let's do it!
Yeah, let's go!
Go on mountains, they also sit on sofas. It's sofas on the air.
Hey,
Whoa,
we made it!
that was cool. How did we do that?
Welcome to the sofa, man.
Thanks. It was nice to see you yesterday at the bar.
Dude, that was so much fun. All right, hi, I'm Ara, N6ARA.
And I'm Mark, KD7DTS.
And I'm the guest, Justin, K5 Echo Mike.
And welcome to episode 8 of Sofas on the Air. Sofas on the Air is a podcast that covers a whole host of topics, everything from SOTA to POTA, amateur radio, and the wacky random tangents that we like to go on.
We made it to episode 8, and today we will be covering a special thing I did this weekend, Justin's journey into ham radio, DXpeditions, the Salmon Run, SOTACAT, and not just Ormu, and we'll wrap up with some Patreon questions. So, how you doing?
What's up? I'm doing good. I've been, as I think I mentioned on the last podcast, I've been working on this like antennode project thing that's essentially a system I've been developing to help test the relative performance between two antennas. And last weekend, I think, was it last weekend? It's all been a blur. We met up at a park and we tested the system for the second time, and it actually worked. And I'm really, really thrilled. We got a lot of great footage from it. I was able to prove, and I don't want to give too many spoilers here, I was able to prove that the system works and tells you the difference between two antennas that you hook up to it in terms of like receive and transmit performance. So that's all the 200 gigabytes of footage I've unfortunately shot has to be edited together. But my YouTube video for that is coming out soon. And oddly enough, I have a flight to Japan next week in a few days. And I have 11 hours or so to do a bunch of editing on the flight. So I'm essentially going to be isolated and forced to edit this video together finally. But yeah, looking forward to doing that.
Well, and I got to be there with you for the test.
Yeah.
And the thing about this invention that's so exciting to me is, as hams, we are always talking about like, hey, Justin, what's your favorite antenna?
Absolutely.
I think mine's better than yours.
Yep.
This is a way to actually go into the field and prove it with numbers.
Yeah.
And it includes the full system. So it's not some approximation. It's really the real deal.
Yeah. I shared some photos of the histograms that got generated at the end of like, there's this post-processing thing you got to do at the end. And the histograms are just beautiful. They perfectly show like gain differences between two antennas.
So I'm excited for you to get this editing done in Japan.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I'm going to try not to spend too much time being on the radio. It is a vacation for me, but I am saying, and I should say this on the podcast now, I will be in Japan probably when you're watching this, and I'll be operating under the call sign JJ0XMS. I was very, very lucky to have that call sign registered. Thank you, Waka-san, JG0AWE, for signing me up for a 5-year license, which you now apparently can't do. Rules changed. But I have this license for another 3.5 years, and I intend to use all 3.5 years of it. So add me to your ham alert, JJ0XMS, and see if you could work me if I get on the air.
That'd be awesome.
So yeah, going to be doing some POTA and hopefully maybe SOTA.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. So, Justin, what brings you into town?
Well, so this weekend is the annual repeat of the Hackaday SuperCon. Hackaday SuperCon is a conference that's put on in Pasadena usually the first weekend in November every year. It's where Ara and I met quite a few years ago now.
Yeah, we were like, what in line?
Yeah, we were standing in line outside of SuperCon, both eager to get in, and started chatting it up, realized we had a lot in common, and the rest is history.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and now you're here on this couch.
Now I'm here, yeah. So SuperCon's a really fun conference. There's a lot of different things that go on. They make some quite amazing badges. So this year was right up the ham radio alley in a way. It was a communicator badge. So full screen, full QWERTY keyboard, all custom made. I've got some Blinky stuff on there for a challenge, SMD challenge for soldering that I did. So that was a lot of fun.
Show the camera. This thing is, and to the audio listeners,
it's an epic badge. It's really incredible.
Dude, this thing is so cool. Like, I feel like this is the badge to the conference. Like, you can imagine the conference itself is just filled with a bunch of hardware hackers and software people, just like solder irons going off, and it's so much fun every year.
There's a huge hardware hacking community. People do all kinds of things. They do add-ons for the badges. They trade add-ons. There's a ton of hams that show up, which is always fun. People tend to have their call signs on their badges. So it's a great time. And if you can go at some point, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I do have to ask, what is the SMA port for?
So that's a good question. So the SMA port, mine doesn't have an antenna on it, or I think ours does.
Oh yeah.
So this is actually a communicator badge. So the SMA port is on the top here and has a 900 megahertz antenna. Inside is a ESP32 microcontroller and a LoRa radio. And so it's got LoRa running. They did a custom mesh networking protocol over LoRa, and the badge was a real-time communication mesh network where you could go into channels and chat with people across the conference right from the badge without a mobile app or anything else. So it was quite impressive. The badge team did an incredible job. And then there's tons of badge hacks that went on over the course of the weekend and ends up in a competition that happened earlier this evening.
Yeah, we should definitely add a link to this conference for anyone interested. If that all sounds really cool to you, which I'm sure many folks would probably find interesting, check out the show notes down below. We'll include that in.
Absolutely.
Mark, what you pour in there?
Yeah.
Well,
it smells real good.
This is a Kunoichi sake, and it's supposed to be by Moon Bloom. It's a Japanese craft sake, and one thing that caught my attention is this particular producer has been around for over 120 years. They're on their 5th generation brewmaster, and for the first time, it's a woman.
Whoa!
And so this particular sake celebrates women in brewing, and I will drink to that.
Dude, I'll drink to that too. That's amazing.
That's great.
I'll take a tiny sip.
Cheers.
Cheers. For the audio
don't
listeners,
spill it.
we're going to enjoy this beverage.
Thank you. So what sort of notes should we expect from this?
It's good. It's really mild.
I thought I read something like yogurt is one of the flavors, and like apple.
I'm detecting notes of extremely finely treated rice.
I think that's like 99% of the ingredients in there.
It's really good. Really good sake.
I think this is an excellent conversation starter.
Yeah, dude.
Laura and I are perpetually bad at describing our beverages, but we do enjoy consuming them.
Yes, we do. So, Mark, what the heck is that thing on your head?
Excellent question that you already know the answer to.
Yeah. Talk about a softball question.
That is the definition of a softball. So this is a set of ears and horns corresponding to my newly earned SOTA Goat.
Woo! All right.
So excited.
I am very excited about this. It's been just over 4 years, I think, since I started doing SOTA.
Okay.
And I started very slow because I didn't really know what it was or why you would do it.
Yeah.
And as I got into it, there's sort of this exponential rise in the points over time until 2 months ago, where I had to slam on the brakes because I really wanted to take the people who had gotten me to this point to a summit with me. And then everybody had trips planned. And it took 2 months to get Ara and Dee and Devin onto the same mountain. So we finally got it done.
Yeah. I'm so glad that it all worked out. And it's like a narrow window too, because I'm like taking off to Japan in like a few days, and Devin had just come back from an international trip, and it was like, this is the moment it's happening or it's not. And I gotta say, I have to commend you for your patience, because if you look at the plot for Mark on like how many activations he did, and like you can clearly see he got what folks call goat fever, where it's like you're close to that 1,000 and you just gun it to it. And Mark goes like goat fever, and there's like boom, dead level stopped. And man, what a friend.
It was so rough. I started doing POTA.
what better way to get your goat though than surrounded with all the friends that helped you get there, right?
Yeah.
It was a special day, doubly so because Adam showed up.
Oh yeah, dude. he really showed up.
He showed up in a QRO way, literally in this case. Yeah. So Adam brought a K3, an Elecraft K3.
Yeah, you didn't mishear him. K3, not X3.
Yeah, it's probably what, 8 pounds?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's large.
Yeah.
And it's black, and it puts out 100 watts, and it's got beautiful filters.
Yeah.
And so he carried that radio up there. But as we know, it's not about the radio.
No, it's definitely not about the radio. It's all about the antenna. And Adam, as we know, has a tendency to, if he can do it, he can overdo it.
And he definitely did. So this time, instead of bringing one Moxon, he brought 2 Moxons. And you might think to yourself, but how do you mast 2 Moxons? That's a lot of mast. Yeah. Well, he found a way to stack them onto a single deployable mast.
Incredible.
Dude, this thing is a work of art. Like, I knew he was bringing a Moxon, but I had no idea he had like reinvented the way he builds and stacks these things up. It was just, oh man, I'm excited.
And not to give away too much, but it's not like this was a drive up.
Oh, no.
Not at all. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for saying that.
If it had been a drive up, this would be a lot less impressive, but it's almost 2,000 feet of gain with a 4-mile approach.
Yeah.
And to do this, he, I believe, started at 3 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. So that when we hiked up, it was already there.
Yeah, and credits to him, he left San Diego to drive to Los Angeles to then hike up to the top so that by the time we got there, and we started early, it was like 6 a.m. we started at the trailhead, he was already up there running.
Yep.
And it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you shot, I think he recorded a video, you recorded a video of all this.
Yeah, and at some point, if we ever edit them, those videos will drop.
You can't not edit and release your own like goat video.
There will probably be a goat video. But yeah, having Adam do that was incredible. I mean, showing up to a pre-configured ham shack in the sky.
Above the clouds.
Above the clouds during the transatlantic summit party.
Oh, yeah.
And so there are all these Europeans who are just on the air having fun. And so Adam's reward for getting there before us was he got to work all the European summit while we finished our hike.
That's great. I was going to ask, you showed up, your friends showed up, Adam showed up with his antennas. Did propagation show up? That's the last question.
Oh,
right?
You know, the solar flux index was about 120.
Okay.
It was 65 degrees, no winds, and G0 storm.
That's incredible.
It was perfect.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So both 10 and 15 meters were firing.
Amazing.
And then, of course, we had to run 2 meters for the locals.
Yeah.
And in proper goat fashion, we did 50 watts into a 3-element Yagi.
So I think you blew up the radios on the ground with that.
I got a lot of 5.9 plus 20 reports.
Yeah.
But critically, just like my 4th contact, the one that got me this beautiful artisanally crafted set of horns was NT6E.
Amazing.
John, oh man, that was so great. And he was really being a goofball on the air. I don't want to give any spoilers, so like you could watch it in the video, but he was great.
So if anybody else is thinking about getting goat, try to get John as your 4th contact. He has a tradition now.
I think so.
Where I don't know how he does this, but he has goat sounds nonstop in the background.
I love it.
The man knows how to party.
Oh, he does.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I was really fortunate this morning. I got to do a little activation. I'm nowhere near goat, but I did Flint Peak this morning just before the con out of Pasadena, and I got to work John, and that was a real treat. So
yeah. David let you up there?
Yeah, he did. He was standing at the gate, but we talked him into it.
Yeah. You had to bribe him like, here's $20, fine, let me get up there.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, and then of course after the activation, got 60-something contacts, all very appreciated, because we all know it doesn't work if you don't have chasers.
That's right.
So thank you, chasers. Afterwards, we met up at the doghouse.
Right.
Which became a temporary goat house.
There were a lot of goats in that house.
Yeah, there was a lot of bagging going on.
There was a lot of and we had just a laundry list of all of the locals that make this happen for us.
Yeah. Everybody showed up, man. It was great. ran out of like seats.
Yeah. And I have a theory. I think we're seeing the tail of the pandemic in the goats coming through.
Oh,
because there was that huge spike in activations during the pandemic.
2020, yeah.
And that's when a lot of us got into it.
Yeah.
And
you're blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I that's when I started in 2020 during the pandemic.
If you look up on WinGoat, an excellent app, the average points that a lot of our people are earning in this area tends to be between 4 and 5 points.
Okay.
Because there's some 10-pointers, there's some 1-pointers.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a 5-pointer summit, but yeah.
So not too surprisingly, 1 plus 10 divided by 2, and that's kind of where a lot of people end up. Which means you need about 200 peaks. And if you do about 1 peak a week, that's about 4 years.
Yeah.
So this is kind of when all of the pandemic baby goats are starting to join the herd.
It's an interesting distribution too, because I think most people fall in the 4-year category, from at least from what I've seen, and I guess it's specific to W6. Because I'm not sure how it is in W7.
Raining for 6 months now.
And snow. But yeah, I mean, there's like the outliers of the Gaussian curve, like, Laureen and Mike and Tom and Carol, who got it like in a year or less, which is amazing.
It's wild.
Yeah. And then there's the other end, obviously, too, right? Like, it could take a lot longer if you can't dedicate, a weekend. Once a weekend is actually quite a commitment for most people. Yeah. So,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's whatever works best for you, So, yeah. As long as you're getting out there.
And just to show how big that commitment is, on the live stream last night, with Josh, somebody asked Josh, how many points do you have? And how many points do you think Josh has?
Oh, yeah, I actually don't know.
Because he does activate.
He does activate.
And he's very good at radio, and he's been doing this for years.
Okay, I'm going to guess. I would say 207. To the audience, I genuinely don't know. So if I nailed it, that'd be amazing.
I have no idea. I was going to say 357.
So he's just over 40.
Wow. 40 points?
Yeah.
40.
40. It's like 41 or 42 or something, but it's...
Please don't look up my points.
I'm going to look at it.
But getting points is actually really hard. And
it's a lot of work.
One of the reasons it took me 4 years instead of 2 is it took me about 2 years to figure out how do you build a plan that will do points, not just get you a activation.
Yeah.
How do you do 3 peaks in a day? How do you take advantage of winter bonuses? Which means things like not activating some peaks on purpose during the good season to save them for the bad
later.
season.
Absolutely.
Right?
Smart.
Yeah. So, I had a winter last year where I had, some obscene number of points in a month because all of a sudden it was still good conditions. But now you could get 11-point peaks pretty easily by going up the Angeles Crest. And knowing how to get into people's hamlers, how do you set up spots, how do you use like the S+2 in the comments to make sure that you have the right window if you're hiking
when you're posting your alert, like using the comment field to do that.
So there's all these tweaks you can do to make it easier and faster and more points rich.
How do we learn all those tricks, Mark?
Well, you could listen to Sofas on the Air.
Do you have a podcast about this?
The world premiere podcast.
We're self-plugging. I love
that
this.
That involves sitting on a sofa. I will shamelessly self-plug.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, congratulations on getting the Goat. That is amazing. And also the 3D printed little tag. You got to talk about that.
Over there. Yeah,
I actually grew up on a small sheep farm. And this is an ear tag. If you raise animals, you need to know which animal is which. And not everybody has great facial recognition for goats and sheep. So the easy way to do it is you stick a tag on the ear. And this particular tag, I can't take my ears off. They're part of me now. But this particular tag has my call sign on the back.
That's so cool, dude. It's 3D printed. It looks like a legitimate tag.
It is actually a real ear tag.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I think you got that from, who was it? David? N6AN gave that to you at the bar after your Goat.
Yep.
That was so cool.
Such a great community.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm excited to throw that video out online so other people can at least get a flavor of what it's like to have that milestone.
Yeah.
So that they can look forward to their own, get busy.
I know.
Yeah.
I've got a long way to go. I enjoy every peak I get on. I like to get there by skis when I can. I've been down a little bit this year. Skis got me in March, unfortunately, but I'm trying to get back slowly. So I'll get back on the road. I do have kids, and that takes a lot of time. And they like to go on peaks with me from time to time. So when I can convince them to get there with me, they go. And the rest of the time, I'm playing Uber. So.
You know, a lot of goats have kids.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, that's good.
That's a really good point, actually.
Of course, you have to save that for the podcast. Amazing. It is also probably worth noting to the audience, you're not, well, you've lived in California, but you're actually visiting us from
Seattle.
From Seattle, yeah. So W7W. Right.
Yeah, Whiskey 7 Whiskey Soda. Grew up in Texas, thus the Kilo 5 call. I didn't just snatch that out of the FCC database.
And you got EM.
I got EM.
That's awesome.
That was hard earned. It was college. It was college student funds back when you could pay for more entries.
Really?
I don't remember if I think they were about $20 or $30 a piece to do vanity applications back then. I think I paid for 6, which was probably all the money in my bank account at the time. And then, you see the listing come up of who else has, or how many other applications. And so I think I paid for 6. There were 12 total. So I had a coin flips chance and I got it. And I've been K5EM ever since. I don't think I can give it up.
Oh,
No.
Dude, yeah, you got to hold on to that one. That's
That's
fantastic.
a family legacy.
It's a legacy
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
And you have kids.
I have kids. It's going to get passed on eventually.
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Have you gotten them licensed yet?
So they're not licensed yet. My older son has some interest, but he's into a lot of other interesting things. Likes to do a lot of coding. Likes to do a lot of sports. But my younger son is working on studying. The interest ebbs and flows, but he's getting there. So one of these days we'll get him to sit for the test, and he'll get there. He's interested.
Well, speaking of things flowing, toss me that cup.
Absolutely.
While you tell me about how did you get into radio? What was your journey?
Yeah, how did I get into radio? So I was licensed when I was in high school. So it's been quite a while now. I've been a ham for, oh goodness, I don't want to say almost 30 years. But I've been a ham for quite a while. And I got into radio. The short version of the story is my dad was into CB, and we were into, I say into CB, we use CBs on trips. Some, and I got kind of interested in radio that way. Had a CB radio set up in the house just to play around with, and heard signals from all over the country on the CB, and that was fascinating. But the big thing was that sort of coupled with an interest in weather. And growing up in Texas, Skywarn is a big thing, and ham radio operators talk directly to the National Weather Service to talk about what they're seeing. And of course, this back in the 90s, we didn't have cell phones and selfies.
Yeah.
And it was really useful for the NWS to be able to have eyes on the ground that were trained. So I started listening to Skywarn on a scanner, and eventually said, this is something I want to do, and got into ham radio.
Hold on, I've never heard of this before. So
Yeah.
you could literally just hop on a CB radio and be like, hello, government, it's cloudy.
Not the CB. You had to be licensed.
Ham.
as a ham.
You had to be a licensed
Yeah.
You had to
ham.
be a licensed ham, and you had to be Skywarn trained. And so the big convention around then was HamCom, which was a big convention in Arlington, Texas. So I went to HamCom. I sat all day for the Skywarn training, which was really cool because as somebody who was interested in weather, National Weather Service, forecasters, they're teaching you all about weather, which was great. And then once you're done and you're Skywarn certified, then you can get on during the emergency nets and you can talk directly to the National Weather Service.
Do you know if that's still as active now as it used to be?
I don't think it's as active as it used to be, but it's definitely still active. I was in Texas a couple years ago, had a HT with me during some severe weather, and was able to dial in the old muscle memory frequencies and hear Skywarn nets going on. So it's absolutely still a useful tool that happens. I think these days there's a lot more, there's a lot of webcams, there's a lot of embedded cameras, there's folks out with their cars doing, live streams. So, but I think it's still a useful tool for sure.
I just know that, I lived in Texas for a while, and there was that girls' camp that was devastated in the floods. Yeah. And that hit pretty hard because I know that area. And one of the things that got called out was the sequence of communication failures. Yeah. And, the internet wasn't working. It was late at night. All of the things that we rely on, the cameras, the cell phone stuff.
Right.
I'm curious if if this had more activity now, if that could have had a different outcome. And we'll never know. But
Yeah. It does really highlight the fact that how important communication just in general is during emergencies. Like I know, for instance, during the like Altadena fires, a lot of cell phones the cell phone networks themselves got overloaded by people trying to communicate and coordinate,
Right.
where they're evacuating, what they're doing, to the point where text messages were actually taking tens to even hours to send through the network. And so, while these networks are very robust in many ways in normal applications, they're still somewhat fragile in a lot of other ways, especially in an emergency situation.
I'll give you the trivial case of that. A couple of years ago, I was trying to meet some friends with D at the Manhattan Beach Pier for July 4th.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a lot of people there. And we ended up not making the connection because our cell phones didn't work. The texts weren't going through.
Yeah.
And if we had had radios, it would have been fine. And of course, we solved this by getting all of our friends licensed.
Exactly.
Shameless plug.
And on mountaintops.
If you're listening to this podcast and you have friends who aren't licensed, fix it.
On the drive up here with Justin, I was telling him, I'm like, Mark is like the most enthusiastic guy I know who will like get anybody he knows to become a ham. And
Absolutely.
I'm like, I wish I could have like even 10% of that energy and drive.
But
It's
only
amazing.
because I love them.
I know.
That's right. We were doing an event with our scouts recently. We were selling popcorn down at Husky Stadium at the UW, and it's the same thing. There were so many people there that the cell phone network was totally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
We couldn't even coordinate with each other. It's a real thing.
Finite number of antennas, finite number of circuits,
Yeah.
and RF congestion.
Only so much
and
bandwidth.
Bandwidth's a
Yeah.
limited resource. Yeah.
So hold on. I got up to the point where you were saving humanity by talking to the government on ham frequencies.
Definitely an oversell.
How did you go from that to Boy Scouts? What happened in between those two things?
Yeah, that's a good. Well, so the big thing that got me next, I joined a club, which is something I would recommend anybody to do. And I went to a few different club meetings. And at the time, again, I was in high school, so my poor dad's Ubering me around to different places. And I went to different clubs. Eventually, I found a club that had some other folks my age in it, which was really handy and useful. And they invited me to field day. So I went out to field day. I started operating at field day, and they just plopped me down in front of a radio and let me start calling CQ on 10 meters. And immediately the world's calling me back, and it was just the biggest rush. It was such a cool thing. I'd never experienced anything quite like it, and I was hooked. I mean, I was hooked on worldwide communication. I was hooked on contesting, and that ultimately led. I went to the University of Texas at Dallas. One of the reasons I picked it was they had a very well-equipped ham station.
That actually played into the factor of...
The first time I visited the campus, the antenna was there prominently on the engineering building. I was like, this is the place for me. Yeah, for sure. So I did some Radiosport in college. That really took off. I got into that. A friend of mine from Germany, DK5EM, was an exchange student. He taught me sort of the art of Radiosport, strategies around antenna selection. We built out our antenna farm on top of the engineering building, which was just a blast. Had a ton of fun and just learned. Did more about radio. Did our first ARRL sweepstakes. Got the sweepstakes plaque, which was just one of the coolest things. I mean, that's just a great feeling. Even when you're a school club and there's only 20 other competitors.
Yeah.
Was that your first like competition or contest?
Yeah, that was my first contesting, like really going for it, And so it was cool. The 4 years I was there, we earned plaques 2 of those years, and that was a lot of fun doing sweepstakes. We did CQ worldwide, so I got into doing DXing and working as many countries as I could. On the club's call, worked a little bit of CW.
Yeah.
So
I was going to ask, like, what modes were you working
hold on.
at this
Before
time?
we move on to modes.
Oh, okay.
Ormu might not know what sweepstakes and CQ Worldwide are. So can you
That's a
talk
good question, yeah.
brief summary of those competitions?
Sure. So there's when I say Radiosport, we're talking about ham radio contests. People always ask, "Whoa, there's ham radio contests, right?" And there's a whole piece of the hobby, which is folks who really enjoy getting on the radio, making as many contacts as they can, usually to as many different places as they can over the course of what's usually a weekend. There's a whole wide range of contests.
Sure.
Some are really short, some are an hour long, some are 48 hours long. Some, like the school club roundup, last a whole week to let colleges talk to each other more and more.
A whole week?
And so the general idea is there's some amount of scoring based on how many contacts you make. Usually there's some modes involved, some different modes involved, and you get different points for the modes. And usually there's some kind of multiplier. And the multipliers might be states, they might be ARRL sections, they might be countries. So ARRL sweepstakes lets you contact a bunch of different ARRL sections. And it's an interesting contest in that it's a long exchange. So for the folks that really like the grind, that's a good one. But you're working folks all over the US and Canada and a few DX and exchanging what is sort of a shortened version of what might have been a historical ARRL radiogram. So you're sending quite a bit of information.
Okay.
And so some people love that.
Not just signal report?
Not just signal report.
Yeah.
You know. Some people really like that. It feels more authentic. Some people just don't like it. It's a lot, doing that over and over.
Does that include CW modes?
It does include CW.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have to actually, it's not just your 599 and call sign, like you actually have other information you need to send out.
Yeah, you have to send, so you have to do I'm remember, this is from memory.
Wow.
I can remember K5UTD Sugar 96 North Texas. And it's,
what does that break down to?
So that breaks down to a call sign, and then Sierra was the school club category. 96 was the first year that license was issued. That's your check. And then North Texas would be your ARRL section. So it's a pretty long exchange, and you've got to get that all right. And then, of course, for scoring, you submit your logs to the contest, the folks that run the contest, and they check those exchanges against
it. So you can't just
lose points.
Log whatever you want and not.
Right.
Oh man!
And then other contests are different.
Challenging.
CQ Worldwide is a worldwide DX contest. You're trying to contact as many different entities, DX entities, on as many different bands as you can. So there's 340 active DX entities, and there might be over 200 of them active on a given contest weekend. Wow. So if you're chasing DX, if that's something you like to do, getting on during CQ Worldwide or the ARRL DX contest, those are great contests to get new countries. Just a couple weekends ago, I picked up, I think I picked up about 35 new countries on phone from home during the CQ Worldwide contest.
Damn,
it's a lot of fun.
Does that work towards your DXCC?
It does, absolutely. If the other station...
it's like a cheat code for DXCC.
Yeah, absolutely a cheat code for DXCC. The ARRL has a new award that they came out recently.
Microphones are getting bumped. I gotta say... I got to give you credit, by the way. We're going to break the fourth wall a little bit here. The fact that Ormu, this whole time while you were talking, was grabbing snacks and hopping around and bumping into the microphones. You did not break 1 second.
Well, what can I say? I like Radiosport.
Well, and we asked before this at the bar, do you know how to work a mic? And you're like,
do I know how to work a mic?
Yeah, I could do this. Yeah, absolutely. DXCC, if you're going for that, if you like working DX entities, contests are just a great way to do it, for sure.
Dude, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of these involve Morse code.
They do.
Can you talk about how you learn Morse code? Because that comes in a lot of different forms.
It does. Yeah, absolutely. So back when I got my license, and we, I think Mark shares this experience with me, code was still required. And so I worked from the Gordon West, thank you WB6NOA, the Gordon West tapes, starting at 5 words per minute to get my technician and then Tech Plus, Technician Plus code. And then I worked for 13 words per minute to get my general. And then I went up to advanced. And advanced for me was an interesting one because I was in high school. I think I was a senior in high school, and I had started a radio club at my high school, like all good nerds do. And the group of friends that humored me in coming to my radio club meetings said, you know what, we'll get our licenses, but only if you study for your advanced. And at the time, advanced was kind of the hard one. The extra was relatively easy. So I sat for the advanced. I passed the test. They came back. They handed me an extra test. I somehow passed that test. And so I had the paperwork for extra, but I was missing the code. And you had to do 20 words per minute to get the code. I had the 13 words per minute out of the way for general. I went off to college and got super into Radiosport. Not really at the time. It was a couple years later, but I got super into playing on the radio.
Yeah.
But I didn't really spend a lot of time practicing Morse code. Here and there, I dabble. I went back home. And the guy, I was at a ham fest in my hometown, and the guy who had given me that extra test, and I passed it from, chased me down in the middle of the ham fest and said, you've got 2 weeks left before your certificate expires. You need to come sit for the 20. And I said, oh man, I haven't been studying. I haven't been working it too much. He's like, it's okay. Just come sit. You've got to get, you just got to get 7 out of 10. He's like, you know enough. And so I went and sat for it, and I scribbled down every letter I could. I read between the lines, and some ESP happened. Not that would ever happen on real CW contacts. And I managed to pass it.
Wow, dude.
And so, but it was cool because at the time it was kind of energizing to get more into CW. And so I did some more. I actually one of the things I did during college was I operated CQ Worldwide 1 year, single band. We had a 40 meter rotatable dipole. And a kilowatt amplifier. So I decided, just because of how my schedule was, I couldn't really work much during the day, but I could do it at night. I'll do all nights, and I'll do 40 meter CW only, and my goal was to get DXCC. And I got 40 meter CW only DXCC in the weekend, which was a lot of fun.
In a weekend?
In a weekend, yeah. And then on one band. And then
that's
insane. I guess a kilowatt would do that.
A kilowatt will do that.
And like operating skills and patience, because that is
there's
not
there's
easy.
a lot of patience. You're doing a lot of calling. You're just trying to get your call sign through the pile up. It's a lot of work to do it, but it was a ton of fun. And then my CW died. And I moved. I finished college. I moved out here to California. I was living in a tiny apartment. In Pasadena.
Oh,
no antenna.
You did say California.
And so I was here for about a decade. I got really into the career like a lot of folks do. I did a lot of hiking in the mountains. I think we talked before about, you guys here in W6, I see mountain names go by and they mean a lot to me because I've been on a lot of those mountains just without a radio.
Yeah, this is pre-SOTA.
This is pre-SOTA, yeah. This was back in the early 2000s. And so when I moved to Seattle, back about 10 years ago, I kind of had a radio renaissance. I really... I finally kind of had some time. I was running a company. I'd started a new company. I had to carve out some time to do something that was energizing for me.
So, absolutely.
Radio was sort of that thing. And so I got back into radio. One of the things that I really wanted to do was really learn CW because I felt like the first time I learned it, I hadn't really learned it right. I could do enough to pick out a DX call sign after hearing it 5 or 6 times.
Sure.
And then, listen to it 5 or 6 more times and know what exchange they were sending.
Right.
And then I just had to get them my information. That part was easy.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to be able to do SOTA and POTA. And ultimately, that's what got me back into the point of doing CW and starting into SOTA, really SOTA more than anything else.
Really?
So I started chasing SOTA, and I didn't really have time at the time to do the CW Academy classes, but I did go through their method. I think you had talked to me a lot about it, and I really talked about it. So I downloaded their whole document and just started going through their method, and I realized real quick what was my problem. I had almost no ICR for about a third of the alphabet.
You want to tell us about
what is ICR?
Can you tell Ormu about
Ormu?
Yeah,
ICR?
So ICR is instant character recognition. It's that connection in your brain from hearing the sound to just the letter popping in and knowing that da is an A, and just knowing it instantly without thinking about it, without decoding. All through the whole rest of my CW history, I had been decoding. I could hear them and I could think through it fast enough and count the dits and DAWs and just do it well enough to be able to get the letters down.
Yeah, but that doesn't scale, right?
But it doesn't scale.
Yeah.
And so...
And instant character recognition also goes beyond just characters too. It's sometimes also words or I know if I say THE, that's the, right? And so it's just that same mapping of hearing the bits and dots. Yeah, exactly. And you know exactly what that word is.
Right.
Yeah. It's like the one that always gets me is FB, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hear FB in code and it gives me a warm feeling because I know it means fine business and it means and so it's really odd, but it's that kind of thing. It's recognizing those pieces. And so I really started working on my instant character recognition. And then I slowly inched into chasing a little more SOTA from home.
Yeah.
And I slowly went into one day I finally said, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this. I'm going to call CQ, and it was terrifying, but I did it. And once I got over it, the SOTA community is so amazing, and they're patient and they're helpful and they're kind about CW and they want more ops to be doing this. And So it was, as terrified as I was, everyone else was just so great about it.
Yeah,
People slowed down for me. People repeated for me as many times as I needed it.
And because everyone had already been there, right? Like everyone goes through this process. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. If you're listening and you want to get into CW.
Well, I have a theory too. A lot of SOTA is a very physical activity.
Yeah.
There are ways to do it with less physical activity, but a lot of the people who do SOTA seriously they're in pretty good shape.
Relatively. I wasn't, but
generally on the younger side relative to the overall ham demographic.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Which means a lot of people didn't grow up in an era where Morse code was the only way of doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had sideband, because sideband is actually a post-World War II thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was relatively new to have the ability to talk. But people in our age demographic, I'm going to say 21.
Sure, Mark. Yeah.
We had options. And so we didn't have to learn Morse code. We could think really hard with young brains and fake it through 13 words a minute.
Yep.
Yeah, and I've talked about this on the podcast. I actually got my ham license when I heard they had dropped the Morse code requirement. I was like, sweet, I don't have to do that stuff. Well, the best way to want to do Morse code.
Best way to get people to learn Morse code is to get rid of the requirement for it.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that was that was a good move on their part in hindsight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really amazing though, because it's been really neat to see the resurgence, I think, of Morse code in the hobby. I don't know, part of me always wonders, am I just more aware of it? But I really think that there's been a resurgence in the last.
There's like a renaissance going on.
10 years
for sure.
And you see it all over, not just with the SOTA activities, POTA activities, with the vendors. The number of like Morse keys you can buy, build, print today compared to 10 years ago. It's just. Dude. It's amazing.
Totally.
Right?
I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say FT8 is a gateway to CW.
Wow.
You heard it here first, folks.
Have you ever gotten bored with exchanging grid squares and nothing else?
Yeah.
Morse code? It's the FT8 for people who want to chat.
I feel like, and I genuinely believe this, I think anyone can learn CW. Like, for the most part. I think a lot of people can learn CW. There's nothing magical or special skill about it. Like it really does take a ton of practice, and it's totally reachable.
And you did it. So your Morse code is passable now?
Yeah, my Morse code's passable. Hopefully no one will pull up a recording from this morning when I hadn't activated in a while. But I made it happen. Yeah, my Morse code's passable now, and I would say even I could sit in a contest. So I think we'll come back to this in a bit, but I did Salmon Run the last couple of years as a portable op, and was totally comfortable sitting and calling CQ for hours on end and making contact. So it's a lot of fun. I have a long way to go. It's one of those journeys you're never done with, which I kind of enjoy. You can always get better. You always improve, and there's lots of friends along the way that are there to help you.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of journeys that you never get tired of, I think Ara had a question about DXpedition.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Or soda at scale. No.
Soda
or a more expensive soda.
More expensive soda.
And less peaks. Well, sometimes. So I know, because I know you're a close friend of mine, I know in 2022 you did a DXpedition to Palau.
That's right.
Under the call sign T88WA, Whiskey Alpha.
Yep.
You're allowed to have two numbers in a call sign?
Yeah.
That's very questionable.
I know. That was one of, oh man. I remember the first time trying to head copy a DX call. I'm like, what? Why are there two numbers in there?
Hold on. Did you choose T88WA because you really love Washington?
Yes.
And T88 is the call prefix.
Tango 8 is the prefix for Palau. I don't remember all the specifics about why it's Tango 88 as opposed to just Tango 8. But yeah, we so the group of us, a friend of mine, Rob in 7QT, is a prolific DXpeditioner. He's been on tons and tons of DXpeditions. Great guy, and he's done some work to bring newer folks into DXpeditions that haven't been. His one of his goals, as Mark likes to bring people into radio, one of his goals is to bring more radio folks into DXpeditioning.
And actually, I think this is a great point or thing to bring up here is what is a DXpedition? Because even up until just actually a year ago, I genuinely didn't know what a DXpedition was and what goes into it and how they even come to be. So can you dive a little bit into that for those who may not know?
Yep. I think the prerequisite knowledge is that, there are not 340 countries in the world, but there are 340 DXCC entities that are currently active. And a DXCC entity has to do with both national geographies as far as countries and stuff go, but it also has to do with proximity to other parts of that country. So as an example, Alaska and Hawaii are their own DXCC entities, even though they're part of the US, as is like Guam and that sort of thing. So there's 340 entities out there. Folks in ham radio that like to chase entities tend to get the name DXers because they're going for distance contacts. And a DXpedition is when you go and activate one of those entities in order to put it on the air, usually when it hasn't been on the air, a lot recently. For a while.
Yeah.
Now, that's not always true, and it shouldn't be a prerequisite for somebody to go somewhere and activate.
Yeah.
But yeah, so take the idea of SOTA or a POTA, up to the country level, effectively, right? Instead of activating a park or a summit, you're actually activating an entire entity and trying to put that on the air. And there's folks that not only chase entities, but they chase band slots for entities. So 340 times 10 ham bands on HF. There's a lot of slots to chase, and then multiply that by 3 modes. And so there's a lot of opportunities to, sort of fill out the bingo card and
I was
trying
just
to work
thinking,
those.
yeah, like
But
exactly
you can
the
imagine
bingo
a lot
card.
of these entities don't have hams in them. Or if they do have hams in them, they're not super active. Maybe there's one ham or 2 hams there that even live there. So Palau is one of those entities that doesn't have a ton of hams. And so Rob had the idea, invited myself and a couple other friends of ours to go to Palau. And I got to go on the journey of planning a DXpedition. And Rob was there every step of the way to help us out and do a lot of the work himself, of course. But really trying to teach others how this process works. And without going too far, the general idea is, how do I want to operate? And you can do everything from, similar to a SOTA. Maybe I just take a backpack radio. There are people who have activated entities with a QMX on FT8, right?
Wow.
And there have been folks, of course, that have taken 10 stations, huge antennas.
It's like a whole thing.
Almost millions of dollars to go to faraway places, and everything in between is okay.
That was the most amazing thing I learned when I went to the Pacific Northwest DX conference, was like learning just how much money this can actually cost and how many months, if not years, sometimes it takes to plan one of these outings, and like insurance policies and like getting all the people there.
So for the one that you did,
amazing.
can you paint a picture in my head? What does the climate and the environment look like? And what did your station look like when you had it set up?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Palau is a tropical country. So for those who don't know where Palau is, I didn't before I started this. If you can kind of picture, on a gross scale, Asia and Australia, Palau is sort of, if you draw a line between maybe New Zealand and Japan, it's somewhere up in there.
That's the piece of the map that says there be dragons here.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It's when you rotate the globe around and all you see is water. That's sort of the idea. Yeah, Palau is it's about 2 hours from Manila in the Philippines, and it's also about 2 hours from Guam by airplane. So it's quite a long way away in the Pacific. Takes about 12 to 15 hours to fly there, depending on which routes you take. And then when we got there, we had a plan, and this is a story for not as quite a bit more socket than we have, but we had a plan of where to operate. And a couple weeks before we went, one of the hams in Palau, really I think the only full-time active ham in Palau, had gone out to our site for us and sent us a bad news video. It was serious bad news bears. He sent us a AM radio next to the power meter for the building we were planning to operate in, and all it sounded like was solid hash.
Oh no!
And so we realized that we were going to have a challenge, or as some might say, an opportunity. And so we got there anyway. We went anyway. We said we're going to figure this out. We got there. We found out that sure enough, the location we wanted had too much noise. We had gone through all our planning with the expectation that we would be in air conditioning inside of a hard-walled building on top of a mountain with plenty of room to set up our antennas.
Sure.
So we'd taken 2 buddy hexes, a step-by-hour vertical antenna, couple other antennas, and we got there and it was totally unworkable. We even set up an antenna to try, and it was just S9 noise basically on every band. So we had to pivot very quickly, and we were only in country for about 2 weeks, so we had to make quick decisions. We spent the next couple of days driving around trying to understand where on the island there was noise. As you can imagine, it's a tropical island. It's really narrow north and south, and there's sort of one main road along the island. We were driving along that island, holding a loop antenna out the window with an SDR, trying to figure out where the noise was better and where it wasn't. We worked with some of the locals to figure out some options. And in classic problem-solving style, right, we came up with a list of options. We went out to each site. We surveyed the sites. We worked with the local power company. We worked with the local sort of tribal communities in the area. Each section of it has a chief that ultimately gets the say in whether we can operate there or not. And we finally landed on a spot that was effectively a park. And we were kind of in the grass parking lot of a park on top of a hill still, with very clean takeoffs towards North America and towards Europe. And we were far enough from the main power lines and the source of the interference that we were able to have better conditions. What that meant though was no mains power, no air conditioning. And we ended up under what's effectively a picnic shelter, solid POTA style, on top of a mountain exposed to the most beautiful view of the Pacific Ocean you can imagine. And that'll play in a minute as the story continues. So Hara's got some pictures here of some of our challenges. And so we ended up, Mark, at some folding tables under a tin-roofed picnic shelter with tarps as walls, with thousands of dollars of our personal equipment.
Just hanging out in the breeze.
three K3s, 3 amplifiers. We actually bought some generators, which was a whole challenge because they'd have a little storm before we got there, and generators were hard to come by. And we didn't really want to take one from. I forgot about that.
Is that my key?
Yes. Is that okay?
That is amazing. I had no idea.
Are you showing the video?
Yeah, I'm showing the video right now.
This is Rob. This is actually at our preferred site, which we didn't get, and I won't go into the whole reasons that we didn't get it. But I happened to have Rob had a K3. I put up my noise sniffing antenna. Was a 20 meter elevated radial vertical that I had used for SOTA that I just happened to have in my bag. We threw it up into a tree. We hooked it to the K3. And Rob said, if I only had a key. And I said, but wait. And I pull out RS key. And I hand it to him. And he starts calling CQ as Tango 88 Whiskey Alpha. And I don't think we worked with anybody.
That's fantastic.
It was just fantastic.
I had no idea you did this.
At this point, we were a few days in, and we were all pretty discouraged, to be honest. Right? I bet this was a lot of challenge. We'd spent a lot of time and money to get there, and things were not going as we had planned. And so, just hearing CW on the air, there's Robin with Rob. Just hearing CW on the air going out, hearing our call sign being sent, it was kind of like a little bit of revitalization.
That is so cool.
But we got set up, we got to making contacts, and the rest is sort of history. So.
Wow. It looks beautiful, though. What a place to operate, man.
It's absolutely a beautiful place, yeah. So if we drop down to a little further. Check out
so many great photos.
This big picture up here.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's the governor.
You guys met the governor of
this one right here. So that's where we ultimately ended up. That's before we installed any of our antennas.
So those are the picnic shelters you were talking about?
Shelters that we ended up operating in, yeah, exactly.
Hearing all these challenges, it really gives me an appreciation for how hard it is to DXpedition. Because sometimes you hear people saying, I help support this group. I should be able to make a contact with them.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing is, if the group can even get on the air, it's borderline a miracle, maybe.
Yeah. Sometimes it is. And these days, that's true even more because there are so many local sources of noise. I'll tell you just a really brief story. The same group, Rob and Robin and a couple of other folks, went to the North Cook Islands just a few weeks ago. And they were there. They got there. I'd helped them, with equipment as much as I could, but they did an amazing amount of work and put an amazing amount of time in getting to the North Cooks. They got on the air. They had amazing signals. Everything was working fabulously. I think they made about 100 6-meter contacts even. which is a big deal with the U.S., with Central America, with South America, with Australia, and then hey, Ormu, and about a week into their 2-week operating plan, there was a fire. At
my gosh, at the island?
On the island at the main generating station. So the island is mostly solar powered.
Okay.
It has backup batteries that carry it through as much as possible. And then there's a backup generator. So if they get multiple days of clouds and the solar panels can't keep up with demand, the generator pops on. The day before, there'd been a problem. The generator had started up and then died.
Oh my gosh!
If I remember right, and then the next day, the day that the fire happened, same thing. Generator came up, and then unfortunately, something in the system caught on fire.
Oh my gosh!
As much of a challenge as it was, the team had to shut down in QRT because at that point, you're in emergency mode, right?
Right.
The operating is the last thing you need to be doing.
Operating is the last thing we need to be worrying about. Folks on the island don't have power.
Wow.
And so they did what they could, including trying to make sure folks had connection via their Starlink and that sort of thing. And I know some of the folks that went, Rob especially, are still in contact with folks on the island and trying to help any way they can to make sure, they can weather this storm. Because it's going to be, the North Cooks, if you look at it on a map, are in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific. And it's going to be quite a few months before they have sort of full power back.
Oh my gosh.
So,
damn.
Yeah,
well,
it's
crazy. What an adventure.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. DXpeditioning is an adventure.
Yeah. And one thing I love the parallels actually between DXpeditions and SOTA and I guess and POTA too in some ways, which is like sort of expecting the unexpected and having backup plans and being able to make new decisions on the fly based on the conditions that you're in. Yeah. Like I've definitely seen that in SOTA, and like a lot of backup gear is really important, and like, or even trails, you're like, oh, this trail, maybe washed out or something, and having another way around, or knowing how to.
And there's a risk balance because when you're DXpeditioning, you have to get all your stuff there, right?
That's right. You have to pay to get all your stuff there.
Yes. And when you're doing SOTA, you have to pay for it with your legs.
That's right.
And so, yes, you need to have all these backups, but you have to figure out, what is the risk of not having the backup?
Yeah.
And what is sort of my minimum viable alternative?
Yeah, without overpacking.
Yeah. Which leads to just really clever products like the emergency antenna on the N6 ARA electronics store.
This isn't meant to be a plug. Come on. But in general, right?
It's actually, have you seen his product for this?
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's really cool because instead of carrying the BNC, because a BNC is too heavy.
That's right.
You carry the center pin and some basically dental floss thickness wire, and it's just enough to make contact.
Yeah, and all credits to my K6STR. He's the guy who came up with this and was like, he literally showed up and was like, I use this. It saved 3 of my activations. Please give this to the world and sell it. I'm like, all right.
Didn't that one come out of electrocuting one of them?
I think so.
Yeah.
He has a good story behind this.
Yeah, I remember the story going something along the lines of, we're here, we don't have an antenna, we need to get the KX2 to connect to something metallic, and then just like holding something metallic near the BNC port and just sort of making contacts through the electrocution.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So, working with what you got.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of people will say in these situations, like you can go back and it's easy to armchair quarterback when you're not there, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
This is a big challenge with DXpeditions. There's the DXpedition world, maybe you've seen it, in other places, but like there's DXSummit.fi is a place you can go to see DX spots. Yeah. But anybody can spot on there, either anonymously or with their call sign, and they'll be on there the whole time you're expeditioning. Why aren't you on this band? Why aren't you on this mode? Whatever it might be,
the complaint comment section.
Oh man, it's a challenge when you're there because we all want to make contacts with everybody we can.
Yeah, of course.
But the decisions that folks make on these expeditions, you really have to give them a lot of credit and a lot of grace because you're not there with them, and the decisions, while they sometimes don't seem right from afar. A good example is why did the guys from the North Cook? Why did they just take their own generator? Right. Well, because they literally did not have enough weight budget.
Sure. Yeah.
On the airplane flying there to take their own generators, right?
And risk management too, right? Like what was the probability of all that occurring, right? It's such a low probability. Why would you waste all that money and time?
That's right. They would have had to get it there via freight. It would have been, tens of thousands of dollars. It's just not worth that risk.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of time during a DXpedition not spent on the air, we had a Patreon question.
Yeah, from Tom AA3TZ. He asked, how much time in a DXpedition is spent doing things other than operating a radio?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think I'd say it depends a lot on the expedition.
Okay.
In our Palau expedition, we had challenges after challenges, which we ultimately ended up for a while with 3 healthy operators in country.
Oh, that's good.
When we planned to have 5. So we had 3 stations and we had 3 healthy operators. Unfortunately, operators do have to sleep.
They're not robots?
They are not. This led to both challenges and opportunities. The challenge was, how do we keep as many stations on the air as we can? And the opportunity was, how high can Justin get his rates? And so I learned that I could run WSJTX in Foxhound mode, which has a queue.
What is Foxhound mode?
So for DXpeditions, there's a mode called Foxhound. Over on the left-hand side by the signal meter, there's like an F button. That's to put you into Fox mode. If it's not enabled, there may be a setting that you have to do to enable it. And what Fox and Hound mode does is it allows DXpeditions to 2 main features. One of them is a queue, and so that they don't have to click on every call sign. They don't have to wait for a QSO to finish, click on a call sign, wait for a QSO to finish. They can see call signs coming in. And when you're on the other end of a DXpedition, it's 5, 10, 15, 50 stations calling you simultaneously. Yeah. You can click on a sorted list. You can sort by signal strength. You can sort by distance from you. So you can kind of pick, you can sort by continent. So maybe you're calling CQ Europe only, and you can it'll filter out only Europe for you. So you're not getting a lot of other callers. You may still get other callers, but you literally don't see them. And then you can just click on those call signs and they go into a queue of, I think, 10. And then that queue will be run through. And it meets the rules for DXpeditions because you did have to click on each call sign. You have to instigate the contact or initiate the contact. But it lets the operator focus on keeping the queue full, as opposed to really managing every nitpicky detail of every contact.
Because FTA cycles are slow. You don't want to waste one.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And so for a while, there was times I was the only operator up. I was running a phone pile up, and then I had 2 laptops and 2 extra mice, and I just had my OODA loop going. I would fill up the queue. I'd work a SSB contact. I'd fill up the queue. I'd work an SSB contact. I'd fill up the queue. And I think I got up to like 480... 470, 480 an hour rates, running 3 stations simultaneously.
So are you available for field day this year?
Absolutely.
Actually, yeah. We should get him to come down.
All I'm saying is we have a reputation for winning at this point.
I hear you guys like to score points.
Would you like to come win with us?
I mean,
it's not about
his arm live on the air.
Do you have strategies that you like to implement in how to score a lot of points in contests?
I am glad you asked that.
Can I answer the question I didn't answer real quick?
Oh,
Please,
yeah.
I'll come right back to that.
Yeah. What you're doing.
So on the Palau expedition, there were quite a few extracurricular activities we had planned to do. We didn't get to do any of them, but we did make 30,000 contacts. We survived this typhoon. And
actually drops and survive a typhoon.
And while operating, we did pause for a few minutes, and then we had to dry out all the equipment for 2 days. But on a lot of expeditions, they do try to build time into the schedule, especially if there's cool things to do locally. If you can get enough operators to go, which is a challenge because it's expensive, then we try to build in stuff to keep operators happy. Right? Care and feeding of operators is more than just putting them in front of radios. Yeah. So absolutely. So Mike,
one more hot take before we move on.
I was going to say there's one more question on this subject. We can do a rapid fire on.
Tom AA3 Tango Zulu again asks, do you have any tips for working DX stations as a weak signal? How do you break through the pileup?
Yeah, that's a good question. Historically, I would have said something different than I am going to say. So historically, I would have said, wait until further along in the DXpedition. But as we all just saw from North Cooks, that may not be a good strategy. Right. So I'm a little pistol at home. I have friends that have big stations, and they're kind enough to let me use them remote to blow out Ara's ears on a summit from time to time. But if I'm at home and I'm chasing DX, I have a couple of strategies. Number one is CW is your way to go. It's really hard to bust through pileups on SSB. There's a few reasons for that. FT modes are good too. Understanding Foxhound, going and reading the WSJT information on Foxhound, understanding how that works. Simply that you have to call above a kilohertz, or the DX stations will never hear you.
Right.
That kind of thing is important to understand. So go read the manual if you're going to do FT8 Foxhound. It's a good mode. It works for little pistols. CW, I think, is in my opinion even the better way. And if you have a waterfall on your radio, this real strategy is to listen to the operator on the other end, get into their cadence. It's very similar to SOTA, right? Understand what the operator's doing. Don't interrupt them, right? When they're calling summit to summit, don't throw your call sign in if you're not on a summit, right?
And they operate split mode typically, right? So it's they're parked on one frequency. Don't step on them.
Absolutely. Don't transmit on their frequency. Number one, they won't hear you.
Yeah.
And number two, you're just interfering with everybody else hearing them.
Right.
So make sure your radio's in split. We've all done it and accidentally transmitted. You'll hear somebody. Usually somebody will send up.
Oh.
And that means hey. And then eventually, if you keep doing it, somebody will send your call sign up. Ask me how I know. No, but everybody at some point everybody forgets to click the split button or misses it. But usually they're operating split anywhere from 1 kilohertz, usually up to I've seen 10 kilohertz on a big pileup.
Wow. Yeah.
And so then listen for a while and understand what the cadence is. Try to understand what the propagation is to your location and when it's best. You might be able to hear them okay, and you might hear that they're working a different part of the world, and that might be that they can't hear your part of the world well, even though you can hear them okay. Sometimes that path, it works that way. So try to understand what the propagation is going to be and find a good time to do it. Usually listening to when their signals are the best is a good way to do that. The next piece is listen to the operator on the other end in CW. Try to understand what their cadence is. If you have a waterfall, you can watch the responses happen as they call. So they'll call, then you'll see the whole pileup call, and then you'll hear them call a call sign. And you may not be able to hear that call sign or pick it out of the waterfall, but some number of folks will go back because they thought they heard their call. One of those folks that went back might be that person. You may not be able to hear the person that's calling them. What I like to do for this sort of stuff is just to get in the cadence and understand the rhythm is I'll get on an SDR, like a web SDR that has that waterfall and lets me just watch and listen. That has a better receiver than my station does. And that helps me kind of understand the cadence and get in the groove. And then eventually you can kind of figure out what their pattern is. Every operator has a pattern. Some of them scan up and then they scan down. Some of them jump around a lot. And if you can understand their pattern, you can put yourself in front of the train.
In the right spot. Oh,
if you can put yourself in front of the train, at that point it's easy. And you don't have to have a lot of power. CW works really well. And if you can hear them pretty well, there's a good chance they're going to hear you.
So what I'm hearing is for every one of these, there's a lot of listening and a lot of patience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a lot. It's not like POTA where you call maybe 2-3 times and you eventually get it.
No.
Like you really do have to have quite a bit of patience. And I'm glad you said this because the few times I have worked at DXpedition, it has been on CW because I think it's just it's slightly less popular. Well, I don't know how less popular, but I would assume less popular than FT8 and SSB. And so your probability increases, or is that not the case?
No. So from the other end, FT8 spreads folks out quite a bit. SSB is really hard, both because as a mode, it's challenging. The signal to noise ratios are worse. But even in SSB pileup, as an SSB op, having been on the other end, you can only spread people out so much. So I might say listening 5 to 15 up, right? So I've put people over 10 kilohertz now. Really over 13 because the guys that are parked on 10
slots.
It's like 5 slots of SSB, but it's only 5. Right?
Oh man.
You think about
what
it,
a mess.
It's only 5. And they're all calling over each other.
Yep.
And we're out there with great receivers and ideally low noise. Not always. And the AGC in your radio starts to become an enemy of you because you hear so many stations calling you at once. And the strategy as an expeditioner is get something out of the pileup and give it back. Right. So I heard an alpha. Who's alpha? And there may be 2 or 3 alphas out there.
But we went
from 15 or 20 or 100 to 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And just that change will let the AGC adjust. And all of a sudden you'll hear all 3 alphas clearly. And you pick the one that's the loudest and get on with it. Right. So,
that is so cool.
Anyway.
That is a great pro tip. I think, didn't we just have a marathon on the East Coast?
A marathon on the East Coast?
Yeah, I think there was a marathon. Do you know what happens when a fish runs a marathon?
No, what happens when a fish runs a marathon? Tell us, Mark.
Is that like what kind of fish? Like in the Pacific Northwest we have salmon.
Yeah, I think you get a salmon run.
Oh my God.
Does he always do this?
This we did. No, he does this all the time. This is just Mark being Mark.
So I wanted to loop back now that we're talking about
Wow, what a
competitions.
segue, guys.
Yeah, competitions are great.
Two things for you. One, what the heck is an actual salmon run?
Yeah.
And two, how do you start to structure things to get points?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's the traditional salmon run, which of course is salmon, coming back up the streams. And if you've
Mark
never
is doing
seen
it
one,
for the audio listeners. Mark is doing an animation of what that looks like in person here.
as someone who didn't grow up in the Pacific Northwest, it is one of the coolest things to see. All these fish trying to get up the streams on top of each other, and it's a really good analogy.
It's a pileup?
A pileup.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. I have pictures of salmon running, and they look very similar to the waterfalls of pileups because you got all these fish struggling to get upstream, and every now and then they hit a barrier, and one of them jumps out ahead of the rest. You pick that one off.
Yep.
And so the salmon run, because of that analogy, is it's our Washington State QSO Party. My club that I'm on the board of directors of is the Western Washington DX Club. We put on Pacific Northwest DX Convention every 5 years, and we also run the salmon run. And so I have drawn the short straw for the last few years, and I'm responsible for making sure ultimately that salmon run happens with a lot of help from friends at WWDXC. And so there's a few pieces to that. I do a lot of marketing, and I get out and try to get in front of clubs in Washington, emails, Zoom calls, whatever it might be, to try to get folks to operate from the Washington side. And if you haven't ever operated in a QSO party, every state has one. And it's usually a weekend contest. Sometimes it's as short as 12 hours. Sometimes it's as long as the whole weekend. Hello, Leaf. And it is an opportunity for stations within that state to sort of, be the DX, be the desired station that everybody wants to work. Usually in a state QSO party, the sections that we were talking about before for the contest are the counties in that state. Different states have different number of counties, so everyone's different. In Washington, we have 39 counties, and those are our multipliers. So if you're in Washington, you get 39 counties that you try to work. If you work them all, we call it a clean sweep. And then you also get to work all the other 49 states, the Canadian provinces. And then because we're a DX club, really like to keep that theme alive, and we allow up to 10 DX entities to be multipliers as well.
Whoa.
So that gives you sort of another jump
Yeah.
above. And so it's not abnormal for a station in Salmon Run that's competitive to work over 100 multipliers in the weekend.
Wow.
So 39 counties, 49 states, some Canadian provinces, and some DX mixed in.
Do you get like enough engagement on DX to make those multipliers happen?
There's some stations. That are regulars. Both from Japan and from Europe, which is a lot of fun.
Oh,
you work
that's
them year
so
after
great.
year.
Yeah.
We give away awards. So usually state QSO parties have awards at the end of them. It can be anything from a themed prize to usually there's plaques. So we give out about 10 plaques every year. Those are on our website, WWDXC, or salmonrun.wwdxc.org. And then probably go to last year's results or something, but and so stations in Washington are trying to work all of those folks, and folks outside of Washington are just focused on Washington. So everybody's trying to work us. Now there are 50 states, and there's only 52 weekends in the year, and we didn't divide them evenly.
Right.
So there are multiple QSO parties usually on a lot of weekends because they tend to avoid the big DX contest weekends and that sort of stuff. And so I think there's 4 or 5 QSO parties that go on the same weekend as Salmon Run every year. And we try to work together and let people submit logs, across the different QSO parties.
That's so cool.
And so,
busy weekend.
It's a busy weekend. It's a lot of fun. We do a lot of outreach to try to get Washington clubs and their folks on the air. And at the end of the day, we get 450 or so logs every year from stations, and get to hand out fun prizes. Our prizes for outside of Washington, each call area in the U.S. Plus Alaska and Hawaii each get a box of smoked salmon from Seattle. So
What?
whoever gets the highest score in each call area.
Dude, we got to do this next year. So it just passed, right? Like
It just passed. Yeah,
Okay.
it was back in September. It's the third full weekend in September every year.
Okay.
For Salmon Run.
Put that in your
guys gotta
Google
earn your
calendars right
smoked
now.
We need to go earn our bear
Dude,
food.
I want some smoked salmon. I'll take that right now.
Because Washington smoked salmon is really good.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Dude. All right. I saw Mark's
okay.
eyes light up.
I'm from the
There are
Pacific,
points
I'm from
involved.
the Pacific Northwest. There's points. There's people. I'm sold. So, how would you develop a strategy, a winning strategy to earn your salmon?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it depends on whether
You're
you're.
asking him how to win.
It depends on whether you're.
What?
I know. Go on.
It's not banned.
Go to the source, right? I'm happy to answer this question for the world. Yeah, I think.
And if you want to win at Salmon Run, listen to Sofas on,
On
the
the
air.
air. There you go.
That's right, absolutely. So there's different strategies whether you're in state or out of state. So if you're planning to operate from California because you want to win the smoked salmon, your goal is going to be to work as many Washington stations as you can. You get 2 points per SSB contact and 3 points per CW contact. And people might ask, well, didn't you guys just say CW was easier, right? And sure, the signal to noise ratios are easier, but it takes a little longer to do a CW exchange. So we try to, I can run faster on voice than I can on CW, more contacts per hour. So we try to even that out a little bit by changing those points up. And as an out-of-stater, your goal is to work as many Washington counties as you can. You only get those counties as multipliers once. So your whole multiplier count's only 39.
Okay.
But every year we only have anywhere from 0 to half a dozen folks out of Washington actually work all Washington counties. It's really challenging. It's even challenging from inside of Washington.
We have
Mark is so
a
excited right now.
we have a very large set of towers
Yeah.
that I would
remember.
be happy to point north.
Dude, oh yeah. Let's do this.
Oh yeah,
Let's do this.
And we have a full legal limit amp.
There you go. We would
all right.
love to have you participate in Salmon Run.
I can smell the salmon now.
Let's put out enough RF to cook our own salmon.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So if I'm in Washington, in state is a little different. So usually in state QSO parties, like we said, the multipliers are counties, which means as a contest organizer, my main goal is making sure every county in Washington's on the air. Now there are states where that's impractical. Texas has 250 something
ton.
counties. They're not all going to be on the air in a given
Right.
year. So it's not practical. But in Washington, it is practical to get 39 counties on the air. So we do a lot of outreach beforehand. We try to get folks on the air. We have a whole web-based activation system where people can say, I'm going to this county or I'm going to this county line. And if you want to make the most points, there's sort of two main strategies I've landed on that really drive this home. This is giving away the secrets, but I love it because I want as many people to go do this as possible. Make the contacts. We want to encourage contacts, and we want to encourage Washington stations to get out and activate all these counties. And so what I've done in the last couple of years when I do Salmon Run is I have operated from a county line. That's an immediate 100% score boost because every time I work a contact, I log 2 contacts. I log 1 from each county. And so that helps me quite a lot to boost my score.
So do you have to have 1 foot in each county, or how does this work?
That's a good question. So different state QSO parties have different rules. And I won't speak for other QSO parties. Our QSO party, because we're a DX club, we run the contest, our committee decides the rules ultimately. We've always really appreciated the fact that there are county hunters out there. As a DX club, we like chasing paper. And people chase different kinds of paper. One of those types is counties. So especially folks outside of your state, a lot of times want to contact every county. Even folks in Europe, chase counties in the U.S. There's a lot of them. So we have made sure that our rules align with the county hunter rules, which state that
is really clever, man.
which state that you have to be in each county. Some contests allow you to be within sight of the county line or whatever it might be. In the Washington State QSO Party, you physically must be present in both counties. So that means parking a vehicle on the line, running an antenna across the line, whatever that might be. But some part of your station has to be in both counties physically.
So basically, it's a configuration where if somebody who didn't know what was going on tried to figure out which county you were in, they would just be confused.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you're happy to share the secrets of getting points. Can you talk about the objectives of setting up a point system?
Yeah, sure. So this is something that we talked about. I took over sort of managing the Washington State QSO Party about 3 years ago. And one of the first things I did was I talked to a lot of folks about sort of the history of what the QSO Party had been. And like, I really asked the question, why are we doing this, right? Because like a lot of things in ham radio, as you go through a QSO Party, you learn that there are folks that are operating for different reasons. Some folks, like Mark and I, are super competitive, and we want to make points. I mean, make point counter go up, right?
Bigger, better.
Point to counter go burr.
Go burr.
But then other folks, that's not their main objective for the QSO Party, right? They want to get on the air. They want to talk to their friends that they may only talk to, from time to time. As the WWDXC Salmon Run Committee, we took some time to really like look at ourselves and like, what do we really want to get out of this? And ultimately, our goal is, as a club, is to promote amateur radio. And one way of doing that is making sure our bands are used and that folks are getting on the air and operating. And so we want to encourage folks to operate. And we also want to encourage participation, not just in Washington, but around the world. We're a DX club, and we want Washington stations to be the DX for that weekend. And that's kind of the vision, to get as many folks operating out there as we can. And so we set up our point system to encourage that. You get multipliers the more out of Washington entities you work if you're in Washington. So if you just work inside Washington entities, you'll max out at 39 multipliers, and that's it. If you point your beams outside of the state and you work other states and other countries, you can get 100 plus multipliers. So that's really one of the things we wanted to encourage. We want to encourage participation, not just in Washington, but around the world. And so we set up our point system to do that, really push that multiplier level up as much as possible. The other thing we do is we only do CW and SSB. The question I get most often is when FT8. I could probably put a website up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And the answer is
Every 15 seconds?
Answer, well done. The answer is when they support the exchange.
Okay.
And they don't do that. There's a lot of hacks. I get them all.
Is this to stay compliant with like the county
That's right.
rules that you want to do?
We want to exchange counties ultimately. And if we're on 2 counties, we need to exchange 2 counties.
Sure.
And, grid squares just don't cut it.
Yeah.
Our counties don't all fit within a square. So yeah, that's kind of our goal, is driving the scoring system, the awards that we give out, all into participation, more ham radio, more fun.
And you said you don't do FT8. There are other digital modes that could, in theory at least, support the exchange. How's your feeling about RIDI?
That's a good question. So our club does a lot of RIDI, in that we have folks that really love RIDI contesting. So we talked about CQ Worldwide. Yeah. CQ Worldwide is a contest that operates in 3 different modes on 3 different weekends. There's CQ Worldwide SSB, there's CQ Worldwide CW, and there's CQ Worldwide RIDI. So if you want to go out and chase as many countries as you can on RIDI, you can do that. And so we're all behind that. The first year I took over, I should say one other thing. We have a station every year that is the Salmon. It is the Salmon Run, but there's a King Salmon.
Yes.
And the King Salmon runs the club called W7DX.
Is it from Kings County or King County?
Sometime it is from King County, but not always.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So
those in the Washington know.
That's right. And so you get 500 points for each mode you work the Salmon on. So if you work them on SSB, you get 500 points added to your score.
Whoa.
And that's not a small, especially if you're only operating a few contacts, like that's not a small point boost.
No.
Right. And so you get 1,000 points for operating the Salmon. But the year I took over, the Salmon was operating at the station I normally contest at, KZ1W. They were running the Salmon. They spent hours and hours setting up an extra station, making sure they could run it simultaneously, having it on digital modes. They tried RIDI. I think they tried PSK31 for a while. In the entire contest that year, something like 50 contacts were made.
That's not a lot.
That's not a lot. Yeah, it's not a lot at all. I think
If you get fewer contacts during a competition than I do on a SOTA activation,
Something's wrong.
something's wrong.
That's right. And so the next year, we kind of made the decision as a committee that clearly there wasn't a ton of interest in this. Even though it could drive scores up, we as the club were spending a lot of time trying to make this mode happen for people, and people weren't showing up for it. And so we decided, you know what, we're gonna drop digital for now. If something changes in the future as far as FT8 exchanges or interest, we might change our minds on that. But that's sort of where we're at right now.
What I really like about this multiplier scheme is it's encouraging people to do what you said earlier, to listen, to figure out where are people, to reach out to new people. And to do that, you're expanding the touch points in the community. So effectively, if you think about the ham radio community as a web, you're adding cross links. You're densifying the network.
Yes.
Love it.
That's really cool.
Can you, if you have a chance while we're talking, bring up the Salmon Run page, and there's an activations page on there. If you go back to, just go to home, and then I think maybe if you scroll down a bit, you should see Activated County 2025.
Activation details.
Yeah, so just wait for this. Scroll down and wait for that to load.
Ooh, cool. Oh, you guys got a little like embedded.
Actually, there's a here if I can. I don't think you have a touch screen, but
nope.
If you go up a little bit for me, check out the larger dashboard there. So this is a tool we created a few years ago and have kept with. This is effectively SOTA Watch for Salmon Run.
Dude, this is
so we built out SOTA Watch for Salmon Run so that folks could say where they were going to operate. They could put the times that they were and the counties they were going to operate in, and then during the contest, there's actually a filter now button which is hidden up there at your top.
Oh no!
But you can click filter active now. Nothing's going to show up.
Oh, all right. There's nothing active right now.
But during the contest period, you can click that button, and every 15 minutes, it's going to auto update with the activations that have been planned and when they're active. I'd love to hook this up to spots.
How did you get?
Yeah, how did you make this?
This is
like
amazing.
A Google thing?
Yeah, so it is a Google thing. It's a Google thing. It's Looker Studio is a Google tool for data visualization, and the back end of this is a Google spreadsheet, and the entry point into that is a Google form. So if we go back, maybe you go back to the original to start with. Just click follow the instructions here.
So what you're telling me is if I had an idea for a contest with different rules than an existing contest, it's not crazy to implement it.
No, not at all.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
If only we had such an idea.
This is so cool.
All I'm saying is, Ara, last time I thought about running a contest, I didn't do it because it seemed so painful it was a gigahertz.
Boo. It's like the second pun of the night. We did have one Patreon question before we move on from the Salmon Run. Tom AA3TZ asked, what's the most important thing about running a contest like Salmon Run? Because if you had to pick one thing and you're like...
Engagement. No question about it. Number one thing is engagement. And that's it's a challenge. Hams, it's kind of strange, but hams are not always the most engaged community. And maybe that's a surprise to some folks.
No, it's not.
And so what we have to do as contest organizers, and I've talked to other QSO Party organizers, and we all have the same challenges and struggles. But what we ultimately have to do is go out and drive engagement ourselves. And participation drives participation, right? Every year I get new people to participate. They enjoy it. I'm out. I'm talking to SOTA community, spamming the SOTA community on the Slack. I'm out on Discord communities like CascadiaRadio.org. Shameless plug there.
Yeah, no, please.
I'm out on Discord communities, and I'm trying, and then I'm out emailing, talking to, getting on Zoom calls with clubs, all over this. In my case, the state of Washington, and I'm just trying to get them to encourage their members to get on the air. And I'm trying to. The message I have is, I'd say it's similar to the message we have when we try to get people into SOTA to begin with. Is, you know what? You don't have to go do a whole weekend. You don't have to go do Mount Everest to start in SOTA.
Yeah,
it's okay to start on Flint Peak.
Yeah,
right.
That's where I started.
Or even a drive up. Right. That's fine. And it's just taking that first step. That's challenging for a lot of folks. So the more engagement we can drive as organizers, the bigger and more fun it is for everybody at the end of the day.
Man, what a
I have
great
one
answer.
more follow-up to that before we move on.
Okay.
What you just described is a tremendous amount of work. You have kids. You like contesting. You nominally do a real job sometimes. What do you find that is so valuable in running Salmon Run that keeps you doing the work in the midst of all of the other things you're doing?
Community. Yeah, I think it's a community. And you know what? I've described a lot of things, and I would not want anyone listening or watching to come away with the idea that I run Salmon Run, right? I'm sort of the program manager of Salmon Run.
Right.
But there's a whole team behind the scenes, the whole WWDXC board, as well as other folks that are not aren't named anywhere, but pop up out of the woodworks to say, hey, can I help in some way? And at the end of the day, it's a team effort, it's a community effort. But it's worth it because the results at the end of the day are we get to spend that weekend operating ourselves too.
Yeah.
And we get to work all these counties in Washington. And you know what's really cool is when I work one of my other, co-conspirators that's been working so hard to get the Salmon Run going.
Yeah.
I work them the first time in the contest, and I can say, hey, Tom, it's great to work you. I'm glad you're in, this county this year. It's really a lot of fun. And that, at the end of the day, that makes it all worth it. But the other side of the question is something has to give, and so for me lately, for the most part, it's been contesting. I haven't done as much contesting as I'd like to do, but I've gotten to do a lot more kid time, and that's great.
No.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. Oh man. No.
Did you want to talk about SOTACAT?
Sodas? That's how you got the snacks out.
Almost, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to do a cheesy transition.
I love it. This is the SOTACAT.
SOTACAT's even orange.
And she does soda.
And she
that
does
is
soda.
such a perfect...
Yeah. Did you know there's other kinds of cats involved in soda?
Non-feline ones?
Non-feline cats.
Crazy.
Yeah. So you can do a computer control of your transceiver, and we call it cat control.
Computer-aided transceiver.
If you take a computer-aided transceiver onto a summit with you, now you're doing SOTACATs, right? So what SOTACAT is an interesting amalgamation of a number of things. And the most important thing I can say about SOTACAT, number one, is SOTACAT is a piece of hardware I sell. And so, I have a connection to it, but I have done a tiny minutia of the work involved in getting SOTACAT to where it is today. And there's other folks, Brian AB6D is really the driving force behind SOTACAT. If you haven't used or looked at his software SOTAMate, it's an app. It's an iOS and an Android app that will help you to spot yourself on a SOTA summit or in a POTA park. And I have to kind of give the background of that. Brian's application, the sort of amazing, clever genius of Brian's setup is that SOTAMate as an application will let you spot yourself using FT8, which is a great weak signal mode.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get picked up by the group of skimmers, reverse beacon network type stuff that's out there. And then when you send that FT8 message, you send your call sign and a kind of hashed suffix of 4 letters and number combo. That hash gets picked up by Brian's system. It gets turned into a frequency and a mode and a summit reference or a POTA park reference.
So clever. It's such a clever system.
And then that combination creates all the information that's necessary to create a spot that then goes out into the normal spotting systems for SOTA and POTA.
Yeah.
And that's, Brian's genius in doing all that is really incredible. Jeff, I hope I don't miss his call, KC6X, I believe. Jeff has written a lot of the embedded software behind SOTACAT. And so Brian's software on the phones will let you send these FT8 messages, and it'll create the FT8 messages in audio for you. And you can hold that message coming out of the speaker of your phone next to the microphone of your radio and send FT8. And that works great. But what Brian found was there's still a penalty to doing that. FT8's a great weak signal mode, but there's still background noise getting picked up by your microphone. The audio coupling's not that great. And so he had this idea of, well, could I make a device that SOTAMate could talk to that would create those messages. And he thought, as far as I recall him saying, he thought originally, maybe we could create the audio to do that with with something. But through some conversations, I think with Wayne from Elecraft, they came up ultimately with the idea that what if they drove the radio directly? What if they put the radio effectively in CW mode,
right,
and change the frequency in order to create FT8? And now you don't have any of the audio chain weirdities that you have. You don't have audio levels to deal with.
Right.
You don't have overdriving or underdriving or all these other things. And so that idea was born out, I understand, by Wayne doing some work to verify that you could actually do that.
And Wayne is?
Wayne from Elecraft.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Wayne from
That
Elecraft.
Wayne.
That Wayne. That you could actually do that. So my understanding is some simulations were run to make sure that could be done without causing any other issues.
Wow.
And the idea of SOTACAT was born. And so SOTACAT became a device that Brian designed that you could plug into a Elecraft KX2 or KX3, and it would receive a message from the SOTAMate app to send over the air as FT8. And it would do that by directly controlling the transceiver frequency and handling the timing on a microcontroller that could handle that timing really well, and that sort of thing. And so that's that point in the story is sort of where I came in. I said, "Oh, that's really cool." And Brian had created some prototypes and had published instructions on how to build prototypes. He wanted more folks to use it, and I reached out to him and said, "Hey, I can make a board for this." That's kind of what I do. And I've had a history in product design and electronic PCB design. And so over a weekend, I took his schematic, I made a board, I sent it off. Boards came in, built a couple up. It worked the same way Brian's did. And then looked at it, played with it myself, took it on some parks, and decided ultimately to make a few changes, add some features to it, better battery monitoring, that kind of thing, and then turn it into a real product with a 3D printed case and stuff. And so now I sell those on my web store, which is Inverted Labs, store.invertedlabs.com.
We'll put a link in the description below, and so folks can go grab one, because these things are so useful. And especially, I think one of the key use cases for me has been when I want to spot when I'm in a cell phone, like there's no cell phone reception, no way to be able to spot. This is honestly the only way you can get an exact frequency, an exact mode out.
So to me, I had bumped into this multiple times, and there was the cat and the mate, and then there's FT8, and then there's timing, and you had to pre-set up a database, and it was too complicated, and so I just ignored it. And then I ended up on a peak with no cell phone service, and there was no APRS because I didn't have line of sight to any digipeaters or anything, and I needed to get a signal out. And my brain just started humming. I was like, I can hear FT8. If only there was a way that I could use this darn mode to do anything. And then coincidentally, that same month, I heard Brian's talk.
Cool.
And it was a long form hour introduction where he broke the whole thing down. I thought, that's it. The problem has been fully solved, implemented, and I can download it today. It felt like an Apple product launch. I was like, this is my the dream product I didn't know I wanted.
Dropped right in your lap.
And it's small, and it's weirdly affordable. What was the URL?
store.invertedlabs.com.
And
about $65. There's some accessories as well.
Ooh, and you got different colors too.
I do have different colors,
And if you haven't saved 65 clams yet, the SOTAMate app still works without the hardware.
Absolutely. You can go use it today, and I'd encourage folks to play around with it and do that. So I'll piggyback on that by saying there's a couple of different useful pieces of the tool. And I think the way I look at it, there's really two different modes that I use it in. They're kind of orthogonal to each other. One of those is, as you described, I'm on a summit, I'm in a park, I don't have cell service, and I need to get a spot out. I didn't plan on being there because I'm just driving, on a vacation or something, and I didn't think to set up an alert.
Right.
Pull over, I'm in a POTA park, maybe I'll make some contacts, right? And that's a really useful opportunity to make a connection. In Washington, living in the mountains, we have a lot of some instances where I don't have great cell phone service. So that's useful to me. The other side of the coin, which I think is just as valuable, but it's when you do have cell phone service, it's still a really useful tool. And the reason it's a useful tool is the SOTACAT as a device, it creates a web page that you can connect to, and you can configure it either to connect to your phone as a hotspot, or you can connect to it as an access point, depending on whether you have Android or iOS, how you do that. But the effect is that you go to a URL, you see a cool little web UI that looks like like SOTA Watch or a list of POTA spots. We pull in both SOTA spots and POTA spots. You can pick which one. They show up in a list, and then here's the real cool part. You can, and it's using, to be clear, it's using your cell phone's data to do this, right? So you need data in this case, but it shows up as a list. You click on the frequency, and your Elecraft radio immediately tunes to the frequency and mode of that spot. And now I'm on frequency. I'm ready to work.
So you don't have to sit there like manually reading and dialing and swinging around and just push a button, you're there.
And better than that, Aura knows the pain that I had when my KX2's VFO knob started to fail. And it is well known that the KX3 uses an optical encoder,
right?
But the KX2 uses a 95-cent mechanical encoder. And over time, it starts to degrade. And when it degrades, you lose one of the contacts that tells it if you're going up or down in frequency.
It does get frustrating.
And so Elecraft's guidance is don't use your VFO knob.
Oh no!
Which no, I was watching.
I know.
That's the guidance. Is like don't spin the VFO. You're supposed to punch in the numbers. The VFO is for fine tuning.
Yeah.
And so the cool thing about the SOTACAT is it solves a mechanical problem. With a digital thing that critically doesn't take up the ports that you need to make the contacts. Because you can, of course, take a cell phone and you can wire it into a KX2 and use it to do FT8 with all the same benefits, right? Except now you've taken up your ports and you're in the wrong mode.
And I feel like even if the knob was working perfectly, it's still so much faster to be able to band hop and hit all these stations. Like this sounds like a huge jump in like just hunting while portable.
It's a really useful. I use it at home even. On my Elecrafts. I use it at home to hunt, and it's great.
Dude,
and then there's a third page that actually handles your VFO problem. So we have a third page that's sort of a general radio page. You can go up and down in frequency. You can enter a frequency in. You can click on CW keyer memories and have those send out. You can freeform CW with your keyboard on your phone and hit send. So there's some extra features that are just kind of fun that are in there. And I know Jeff, for one, really loves using his phone as just the driver to his radio. Some people love that. Some people don't. It's a great thing. It's another option for the community. Whatever however you want to goat, as they say.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Yeah, definitely going to include a link to that in the show notes. Oh my gosh, we've gone through so much here. I think we had just one. Whoop, stuff is falling in the background. Exciting.
The cat is disassembling the kitchen in the quest for kibbles.
So onto the Patreon questions. I know we actually sprinkled a good number of them throughout the subjects because folks knew who was coming on. But Mark, I think we got one question here. It's a really interesting one. I'm curious to hear about.
It is, and it's from one of my favorite Patreon supporters.
Oh.
K5EM. And D asks, how does your electrical engineering background influence your interest in radio, and how does it impact how you experience the hobby?
Oh, wow. That's such a deep question, and I love it so much. So I ended up in electrical engineering substantially because of amateur radio.
So it was the other way around.
For me, the starting point was the other way around. Absolutely. When I was a kid, my mom worked for a big defense contractor that made airplanes in Texas. So I grew up surrounded by, pictures of airplanes, and I loved airplanes. I thought I was going to go and be a aerospace engineer. But I learned one day, quite late in the process, that it wasn't normal to both be an airplane designer and a pilot. And I immediately thought, well, that's just no fun.
That's lame.
You mean I can't fly the airplanes I designed? And I pivoted then and there. No, I got interested in radio because of what we talked about earlier, and I ultimately that got me into like playing with electronics. Right, I kind of wanted to build a radio, and actually, portable radio was the first reason. I built a NorCal 40A kit when I was in high school.
Oh wow!
The folks at Wilderness Radio took my long distance phone calls and like helped me work through the problems and get it on the air. And that really like catapulted me into an interest in electrical engineering and understanding. I was making these circuits, but I had no idea really why they did what they did. And I thought, what better thing to go learn more about? And I got really into it. And so that drove me to where I ended up at the engineering school I ended up at, drove me further into amateur radio. And then the reverse has happened too. Amateur radio over the years has driven a lot of pieces of my career. I've gotten quite, various pieces of amateur radio have gone back and applied to things that I'm doing while I'm working as an electrical engineer, whether that's understanding antennas or understanding EMI or, adding ferrite beads everywhere, right? These are things that like I had a hands-on knowledge of that a lot of my coworkers just didn't. They understood the concepts, but they never really played with it hands-on. And amateur radio kind of gave me a great leg up in that process. So it's always been an integral part.
One of the things I really like about radio as a general field is everything scales. Maxwell's equations are not linked to ham bands. So if you learn it in ham band X, then you can scale it to kind of anything. Maybe you need a different type of ferrite, but if you go up enough in frequency, all of a sudden parasitics might be a problem.
Sure,
but the fundamentals you can touch.
Yeah, and I think your background, you have a lot of like embedded systems knowledge, like digital systems, and that's where my background comes from. And I think understanding what a ferrite is doing and more into the analog world of like why you have inductors and capacitors in certain filtering scenarios or what have you. It for me, amateur radio is kind of, okay, I'm going to backtrack here. In my career and going into electrical engineering, I took the hard into the digital route, like embedded systems programming, more into computer engineering, and like inductors and capacitors were kind of interesting. I didn't really quite have an appreciation for them. I always wanted to learn more about analog. And I don't know if this is the same for you, but for me, ham radio was sort of a mechanism to force myself to do more analog design, to have an appreciation for analog design and like understand why those sort of components help in the digital world, and also just to experiment and have fun with it. So
yeah, absolutely. My career is sort of similar. I really drove through. I did embedded systems. I did control systems, flying drones, that sort of thing, like teaching computers to fly drones. And I did some amount of analog, but it was always like had this sort of uncomfortable, slightly magical piece to it. And radio has been a huge help in that. And reading through radio manuals, right? Experimental methods in RF design or whatever it might be, and understanding those under the context of, oh, hey, I get how those frequencies are mixing. I understand how that analog signal is going through there. It's really been helpful to me to understand more and more about what's going on.
Man, that's fantastic.
I'm not sure the magic ever gets lost, though. There's something still, no matter how much I've learned about it, wild about taking, a piece of ceramic, a little bit of quartz, a chunk of iron, and maybe some like extruded copper. And if you just put them together
in the right way,
then somebody starts speaking Japanese out of your hand.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
Absolutely.
Dude, that is such a...
Where else can you have that?
Yeah.
And get to grow goat ears.
Oh, man. Well,
I think
we blasted through those topics, and holy cow, I feel like we could just keep going for hours and hours.
The only limiting factor is we've run out of suck it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I think it's probably time to at least mention our Patreon before we dematerialize.
If you've made it this far and you're not Tom...
Thank you, Tom. Right. We should talk about our Patreon. So we have a Patreon page, patreon.com/sofasontheair. So we have 2 membership options. There's the Trailhead at $5 a month, which lets you ask our wonderful guest questions. We also have the Ridgeline for $20 a month that lets you give us suggestions on who can be in this magical position to be asked questions. So check that out. Help us. We essentially pool up all this money to help fly those people over here to come visit us. And I think I mentioned on the last podcast and definitely this time around, like, I think we actually have enough to get somebody flown out here, and I'm really excited. We got to talk about
They
who
might
that's
be
gonna
on Spirit Airlines.
They might be on Spirit Airlines. It's not that much money, but it's just enough. So thank you to all the Patreons who have helped make us reach that milestone. We will soon hopefully have somebody actually out here, and I think as we gain momentum, it's going to get easier and easier to get. Maybe we can upgrade them from Spirit to like Southwest.
Yeah, I personally have a high degree of confidence that this podcast will continue to lose money, and I am fine with that because it's not about money.
No,
it's about getting to chill on the sofa with people that, frankly, we want to chill on the sofa with anyway.
Yeah,
there's one piece that I didn't get into, and I won't beleaguer the idea, but ham radio at the end of the day is about community.
Yes.
And, the cool thing about being a ham is no matter where you go in the world, you have a friend. I've seen it time and time again when I've traveled, wherever you're going, reach out to a ham there, and they'll be happy to meet with you and sit on a sofa with you and have some sake and talk about radio.
Yeah. And not just the United States, but like around the world. That's such a unique unlock
it really is. Yeah, it's a superpower for travel.
Yeah, for sure.
And for everybody I've met on the sofa for the first time in person, it's like the 20th or 30th time we've talked.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think that's it. Ormu, do you want to say goodbye? Oh, no, I had one more thing.
What was it?
I had one more thing.
Tell us, Mark. What is the one more thing? Ormu looks very excited for the one more thing. Did you bring the Jenga choke?
I brought it for you.
Oh my God.
You gotta explain that.
I love how I knew immediately what this stick is. Oh, this is such a good cliffhanger for my own video. Okay, Mark, thank you. Okay, so people are probably very confused because there's literally 2 people in the world who know what this stick is right now.
I'm confused with you.
Including the guest who has no idea what this stick is. So I'm just going to say, if you want to find out what this stick is, and I promise in 2 to 3 weeks, I will have the video edited and on YouTube. Check out my YouTube channel, N6ARA Electronics. This stick does some things in a field, and it'll be really interesting. So there's your hook. I can't believe you brought this. Okay, sorry. I'm in genuine shock right now, and I don't know what to say.
Well, I think we say 73s.
We say 73s. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a good one.
And Ormu, can you wave goodbye?
Bye.
That's right. 73s, y'all.
Cheers.
911, what's your emergency?
I'd like to report a missing sofa.
Do you have a description?
It's brown and leather.
When was the last time you saw it?
It was last seen on the air.
Have you tried calling CQ?
No, I have not. Thank you.